welcome to part 15 of the RazorwireReviews Bat-a-thon, the final installment, and this is actually the second time I filmed this video. I filmed it yesterday in the day, and I was just really angry. Like, it wasn't a good video, and I couldn't even finish it because people came in, and yeah, my mum was singing in the kitchen really loudly, and I said, can you keep it down? She said, yeah, sure. So she shut the kitchen door, and then she opened it again and started singing even louder. And then the cats were crying to come in, and then I'd let them in, and they cried to come out, and then my cat chewed up one of my Batman posters. So yeah, I was really annoyed and never got to finish the video. Anyway, that's so irrelevant. Let's just get to the meat of this video before I waste even more of your time and mine. Final installment of the Bat-a-thon. This is basically the best of Batman. I'm just going to be giving you four top 5 countdowns of the best Batman films, the best actors to have portrayed Batman, the best Batman films, I've already said that, the best villains, and the best Joker. That's right, yeah. Actually, there won't be a top 5 best Joker, just like in order of how I think the... Yeah, I think I could stretch that to the top 5. Anyway, before I get to that, I'm going to do my Q&A, Bat-a-thon Q&A session. I, sent the video out, to send me Batman questions, and you delivered, and that's cool. A lot of people sent some questions, sent a lot of questions as well, so that's really cool. So just to get straight to those now, before this video drags on too long. But yeah, I think this is really cool, just bringing it all together. Dark Knight Rises is over now. Well, it's not over, it's still out, and I'm probably still going to see it at least a 4th, maybe 5th time. But yeah, the whole goal of this series was to build up to the Dark Knight Rises, and I just feel like the Dark Knight Rises delivered so much. I'm just so happy how this whole series turned out, because it was a lot of effort that really paid off at the end for me personally. I just loved it. So let's start from the first questions that were posted from Tadling76. Cool guy. You should check out his channel, he makes some cool videos. Who was your least favourite Batman? I'm trying to think what his name is. The guy in the Batman and Robin serial from 1949. Actually no, George Clooney. What am I thinking about? George Clooney, without a shadow of a doubt. George Clooney can go and die as far as Batman's concerned. He was just awful. Who is your least favourite Batman villain? I'd say probably Poison Ivy. And the first time I filmed this video there was a lot of umming and ahhing, but because I've answered most of these questions now, it's going to be pretty quick. Poison Ivy, I'd say, as far as the films go, she was just probably the weakest really, or maybe even Bane from Batman and Robin, but I'll stick with Poison Ivy. I mean, I like the concept of the whole, having the poison on her lips and kissing someone and killing them, seducing them. That's kind of a cool kind of gimmick for the character, but in the film it didn't really work that well, I don't think. And generally there's just stronger villains, I feel. What was your favourite episode of Batman the Animated Series? I haven't seen the Batman the Animated Series, I plan to, but there were 2 episodes on the Batman Gotham Knight Blu-ray which I watched to review the Blu-ray, and I'd say Heart of Ice is probably my favourite episode of the 2 I've seen. But I've listened to a podcast that Kevin Smith did with Paul Dini, who was the writer on the Batman the Animated Series, and he was telling Kevin Smith about this episode, Heart of Ice, and he was choking up as he was saying it. He was getting that emotional about it. And I wouldn't say it moved me or anything, but it was a really cool episode, and I love the character Mr. Freeze, so that's probably my favourite at the moment anyway. By the way, you should check out Kevin Smith's podcast, Fat Man on Batman. He does it every Monday, and last Monday he did a 3-hour discussion of The Dark Knight Rises, which was just so awesome. It was him and Scott Mosier, who's been in his films and stuff, and he tells Scott Mosier everything about The Dark Knight Rises and just spoils the whole thing for him. He doesn't care anyway, but he goes through the whole plot as he remembers it and just talks about what he likes. He gets emotional, he almost starts crying. He's like, oh, the ending's like Good Will Hunting, and then he starts talking about Good Will Hunting, and he starts crying then. Well, not crying, but almost cracking up and stuff. And it's kind of funny, and you should definitely check it out if you're a fan of Kevin Smith, definitely, and if you're a fan of Batman. And yeah, what was the question? I should try not to go off on tangents here. Right, okay. What was your favourite piece of equipment from Batman's utility belt? I don't know, that's a tough one. I like the big gun he has in 1989 Batman, where he points the thing at Jack Nicholson, and then it just splits and shoots the thing, and then he slides off. And he's like, where does he get those wonderful toys? I love that part of the film, so that's pretty a cool gadget. But all the gadgets that Batman has are pretty cool. I mean, who doesn't want a shark repellent bat spray in the utility belt? Have you seen Mallrats, and what did you think of the nod to the 1989 Batman in it? Where does he get those wonderful toys? There we go. Yeah, I've seen Mallrats a long time ago. I have the DVD. I haven't rewatched it lately, so I can't remember the reference. I'm sure it's funny, and that I would appreciate it though, because I really enjoy Kevin Smith's films. I think Mallrats is probably his weakest, but then again I haven't seen Cop Out, so and that apparently is awful. But as far as his view askew films, I'd say Mallrats is probably the weakest, but I do enjoy it, and I think it rings a bell. I like that reference in the film. What is your most favourite moment / scene of the pre-Nolan Batverse? Movies, animated series, comics, etc. Well, I've only just got into the comics, so I don't know if I should really comment on that, but I really love, in The Dark Knight Returns, the scene between Batman and the Joker in the Tunnel of Love. I just think it is so dark, and just it's just so epic, you know. In fact, that whole graphic novel series is just amazing. Animated movies, or a series even, I wouldn't really say, you know, I'm trying to think. I loved a lot of things in Under the Red Hood, but that's kind of after the Christopher Nolan, or during the Christopher Nolan films. The movies, probably the opening scene of Batman, where he's like, "I'm Batman." You know, that's just so awesome. Like, and I'll get to that quote later on when I talk about the best Batman actors. Yeah, there are a lot of moments I really like in it, in the movies before the Christopher Nolan movies, but yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be stood here talking too long. What's your favourite moment or scene from the Nolan trilogy? One that always sticks out for me is when the Joker gets dropped off the building at the end of The Dark Knight and is laughing all the way down until Batman catches him. I think that's just a really, really nice little beat in the film. I also love the interrogation scene. Everyone loves the interrogation scene. It's just, you know, it's as awesome as everyone hypes it up to be. The Dark Knight really stands out as far as moments and scenes. But also there's a lot of stuff in The Dark Knight Rises as well, and just for the record, if you haven't seen The Dark Knight Rises yet, just be wary, I guess. I might spoil something, but I don't know. Actually, yeah, my favourite moment, this is a massive spoiler, my favourite moment in any of the Batman films is the end of this one right here. When Alfred looks over and the music hits in right at the end, that just, wow, it's just such an emotional hook that I never thought I'd get from a Batman film. You know, it just gave me a lump in my throat, and just when a Batman movie can kind of hook me that much, then it's pretty special. That's my favourite moment, I think. Which one of the three Nolan films do you pick to be the best of the bunch? Dark Knight Rises, without a doubt. I just think the story's better. I think in The Dark Knight, you know, Heath Ledger, I think it's kind of overhyped and over-explained. The Dark Knight Rises, I think just the overall story works better for me. Not that I don't like The Dark Knight, I think it's an amazing film, but I prefer the final of the trilogy, which is why I think it's the best trilogy ever made, because I think the films get better as they go on, genuinely. Next we have Dr. Hasline, I don't know, what's that name from, by the way? I mean, I know who you are, but I just never really asked you or anything. Not that we talk much, but you know, hey, I just always wondered what that name was about. Hi Luke, haven't had a chance to watch all of your Batman videos, but what are some of your favourite quotes from the film? I'm Batman, that's one of them. The line in The Dark Knight where the Joker says, the only sensible way to live in this world is without rules. I love that. It's one of those little lines that no one really quotes and kind of like slipped under the radar, you know, and gave way to things like, you know, why so serious? You want to know how I got these scars? You know, and stuff like that. And I always love that line. And I guess the line that people do quote is, I'm like a dog chasing cars. I like that one as well. Yeah, mainly from The Dark Knight, my favourite quotes, I guess, but also, I'm Batman, and I love in Batman Returns when Michael Keaton's like, hey, you let Vicky Vale in the Batcave. Like, I just thought it was such a funny line, even though it's really out of place. And if you're a fan of the films, you know what that means, you know, because Alfred let her into the Batcave in the first film, the fans kicked off about it, so they sneak that line in there to kind of please the fans. Now we have some questions from JJ. Now we have some questions from JJ3628. He's been following this series from the get-go, and I really appreciate your support and comments and all that, man. I always look forward to seeing your comments on the videos. Yeah, so what are your favourite 3 moments from the Batman films? Again, I've been through some of my favourite moments. I guess the Joker, when he falls off and he's laughing, the interrogation scene in The Dark Knight, and probably the ending of The Dark Knight Rises. And not just the Alfred bit, like the whole kind of sequence at the end, I think is just fantastic. Who in your opinion are the 3 best Batman villains? I'll get to that in my countdown later on. Who do you think is the worst Batman villain? Again, I mentioned that Poison Ivy, I think. Do you think The Dark Knight Rises will make more money than The Dark Knight in terms of worldwide gross? No, I don't. I think The Dark Knight really captured some kind of phenomenon with Heath Ledger's death. Honestly, I do think that was a big part of the hype around the film and how much money it made. and also because it's a great film and word of mouth really kind of helps these films get more money because people go to see them again and again. That's why the Avengers made so much money, because everyone I know went to see the Avengers at least twice, and that's happening now with The Dark Knight Rises, but I don't think it'll quite get to the Dark Knight level, especially because the Aurora shootings and stuff. I think that will affect it a little bit, but I think it's still going to make a shitload of money. We're not doing this for the money, we're doing it for a shitload of money. Next question: because Warner Brothers are bound to do another Batman film, what director would you like to see take the Batman series? I thought about this again when I made the video yesterday, and I don't know. My favourite directors that are currently working right now wouldn't fit. Christopher Nolan for one, and I don't think he should make another Batman film, because I think he should leave it where it is, and that was just pitch perfect ending. Quentin Tarantino, you know, I wouldn't want to see him make a Batman film. Cameron Crowe, yeah, totally not suited. Richard Linklater, totally not suited. Wes Anderson, definitely not well. No, you know, I didn't even think about this yesterday. Wes Anderson making a Batman film, that would be interesting actually, thinking about it. Like a really quirky comic book kind of Batman, although it'd probably be too campy, I don't know. That'd be interesting, Wes Anderson making a Batman film. But no, James Cameron as well. Yeah, he's probably, you know, doing Avatar for the next 20 years, so I don't know. I think maybe a new director, you know, someone who has made a few good films but hasn't really broken into the blockbuster yet. I think that'd be really cool. I think really Tim Burton's career was made a lot bigger than it was before when he made Batman, and the same with Christopher Nolan, I think. Although Christopher Nolan's made some great films, Batman really catapulted him into just this massive kind of status, and you know, he got to make Inception, which was a huge movie, and I'd like to see a new director take the reins. No one in particular, as far as I'm concerned. Who are some actors you would like to see play Batman? The ones I came up with were Michael Fassbender, even though he's not quite as bulky for the role, but I think he'd be really cool, and also Josh Brolin, because I think he's got such a square jaw, and like he could really be a badass Batman. I think actually, like a real kind of, just throwing that out there, Josh Brolin, I think could be really, really fucking cool. If there's another Batman game, who would you like to be the main villain or villains? Well, Arkham City, spoiler here. They tease the kind of Hush storyline at the end with the guy who kind of gets skin off people and has made himself look like Bruce Wayne, you know, with like just the scars and stuff. I think that would be a cool way to take the next game, and obviously they've hinted at that by putting that subplot in the game. Otherwise, I don't know, I'd like to see maybe Mr. Freeze come back, because I thought he was fucking awesome in Arkham City. But I don't know, I'm just ready to kind of sit back and be surprised on that one. Although I don't think they're going to top Arkham City, because that was just a fantastic video game. Tap Out Extra asks, if you could change the whole cast in any way, who would you change and who would you change them for? I guess that means the new film, I'm guessing. No one. I thought everyone was perfect in this film, down to Matthew Modine and like Juno Temple as as Selena Kyle's friend. I think everyone was just perfect in this film. I guess if you're just talking about the Nolan films, I really wish that Katie Holmes had played Rachel Dawes in both films. Funnily enough, I actually think Maggie Gyllenhaal is a better Rachel Dawes, but I just think consistently, I think that would have been better to have the same actress, or maybe just have Maggie Gyllenhaal in the first film. I don't know. That always bugged me a little. I hate things like that when a character is just replaced by a new actor. But again, if there's something I could change, I guess I would have loved to have seen a Joker cameo in The Dark Knight Rises, and because The Dark Knight Rises takes place 8 years after The Dark Knight, I think it's viable that the Joker could have been really fucked up and let himself go, and they could have cast Mark Hamill as the Joker. I just think that would have been brilliant, and wouldn't be a slight on Heath Ledger in any way. It would be a tribute, and also kind of just a kind of like a pat on the back of Mark Hamill for being one of the best Jokers ever. You know, voicing, if you don't know, he voiced the Joker in many animated series and movies and stuff, and he's just fantastic. I'd love to have seen just like maybe even just a 30-second clip, you know, of Mark Hamill playing the Joker. I think that would have been just epic. And he's getting a bit old now and haggard and stuff. You know, no offense to him. I think he would have looked like a real cool, twisted Joker. That would have been pretty cool. Do you think there should be any more Batman films in the future? Yeah, it just has to, really, doesn't it? Again, Dark Knight Rises spoiler, but I feel like the whole ending with Joseph Gordon-Levitt with the platform rising and stuff, as much as it's like, you know, oh, he's going to be the next Batman, I don't think it really means that we're going to see him in a Batman film. In fact, I definitely don't think it means that. I think it's kind of like within the context of the story of The Dark Knight Rises, it means there'll always be a Batman, and that's a message of the film. But it's also kind of a message to the audience, you know, there will always be another Batman, you know, it's almost like a comforting kind of thing to people who are upset that the Nolan series is finished. There'll always be another Batman, and there will always be. So yeah, I think there should be, but I'm happy to, I'd be happy to wait for another 10, 15 years before another Batman film, honestly, but I'm sure they're going to fast track it and get it out within a couple of years. And I'll be there, but you know, I feel like Nolan did something fantastic with these films. Sorry, my phone's been really weird. If you could direct a Batman movie, how would you do the storyline? That's interesting. And I see I'm at 15 minutes already, so I'm going to try and be quick now. I'd love to see the Nightfall storyline played out, but then that kind of involves Bane breaking Batman's back, and we've now seen that in The Dark Knight Rises, but I love the idea of him blowing up Arkham Asylum and all of the nutters being released and Batman having to take on everyone in Gotham, you know, just like, and he kind of takes on all the lesser villains, and he gets worn out because he can't rest, and he's got stubble, and he's getting tired and injured, and he's like, oh god, I haven't even got the Two-Face and the Joker yet. And then the Joker and the Scarecrow team up. I thought that was really cool, how like Scarecrow's getting pissed off with the Joker, and he's like, I'll spray you with my fear gas, and Joker's like, yeah, bring it on, I want to see what happens if you do that. And he does it, and nothing happens to the Joker because he doesn't fear anything. I thought that was just really cool. They could do a lot with that storyline, or even just like an Arkham City style storyline where there's just like all the villains to deal with, but at the same time that would water down all the villains. And I don't know, I'd like to see a Mr. Freeze movie, honestly, but not to call him Mr. Freeze, but to call him Victor Freeze, and just really explore that storyline in a serious way, because I think it's such a great character that was so fucked up in Batman and Robin. Like, they almost got it, if you take out all the puns, they almost got it, but it could have been done so much better. I would really like to see a Mr. Freeze movie, you know, honestly. A Victor Freeze movie, I guess you could say, not a, you know, a typical thing. Okay, Ryan for Butler1 asked me, what do you think of the plot holes in The Dark Knight Rises? I think there's quite a few plot holes in The Dark Knight Rises, but I'm willing to let them go because the movie just ended pitch fucking perfect. And, you know, you're watching a film about a guy dressed up as a bat, you've got to suspend your disbelief somehow. And I'm willing to let the plot holes go. I mean, there's quite a few, and I've talked about them, but, you know, none of them really bother me. What's your favourite Batman film, animated and live action? Well, we'll get to that because I'm going to be doing my top 5 Batman films, and when I do that, I'll let you know which my favourite animated movie is. Actually, you'll know anyway. Favourite actor who has played Batman? Again, I'm doing that on my list as well. And his final question is, The Dark Knight Rises trilogy, spin-off or not? I would say not, and I know what you're saying about that. Maybe seeing Joseph Gordon-Levitt being the next Batman, although a lot of people were saying, oh, he's going to be the next Robin, or a Nightwing. I'm going to get a Nightwing movie. I really hope we don't see that, because I just think that series should just stay as it is, and doesn't need to be further explained, honestly. Next we have BW45TV. If they were to redo the Batman films, who would make a good Batman? Who would direct them? Again, I don't know, maybe a new director I'd like to see, and who would make a good Batman? I'd say Michael Fassbender or Josh Brolin, I think would be my picks. What do you think would have happened if they made Batman Triumphant, which was a sequel to Batman and Robin? I think it would have made money, you know, honestly. I think it would have been a success commercially. I really would like to have seen Jeff Goldblum as the Scarecrow. That would have been really cool, actually. And going back to like what I would do with it, I would definitely cast Jeff Goldblum as the Scarecrow. That would be really cool. But I don't know, because they plan on keeping George Clooney on, so I think it would have been. I think because of the reception Batman and Robin got, and people didn't really like it that much, I think they would have kicked their ass into gear and made it a bit more serious. So I think Batman Triumphant would have been better than Batman and Robin. If I were to create a villain or a new sidekick, what would I call them? I don't know. That's a really tough question, and I'm going to leave that just because I don't want to drag this video to drag on very long. And he says, thanks for making good videos. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to come up with new good ideas, I think, in terms of superhero stuff. You know, all the good stuff was taken in the 40s and the 30s, I think. Then we have the Tom Parr 1 saying, what Batman TV series do you like the best, and what was your first thoughts when you first saw your Batman TV episode? I haven't really seen a full series. I've seen one episode of the 1966 Batman series, and I really enjoyed it. It was really campy and cheesy, but if you just watch my review of the 1966 Batman movie, which is here, it's in the vein of that, and I really like that, you know. And the animated series I think is awesome, and I really need to get into that. Then we have some questions finishing this off from Chill Pilgrim 1138, another big follower of the Bat-a-thon. Thank you a lot for your support as well, man, and also the package you sent me, the really awesome Batman package. Which actress played the sexiest villain in any of the movies or TV show? I quite liked, was it Lee Merriweather who played Catwoman in the 66 Batman? I thought she was quite hot, actually. I think Anne Hathaway is pretty, give her a run for her money as well, actually. She's pretty hot. But yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer, I guess. Any of the Catwomans I think are pretty hot. What's your favourite movie poster from any of the films? There's been a lot of good ones, but I just love the 1989 one with this. In fact, it looked like this. And it just had Nicholson, Keaton, Batman. So simple, so cool. And yeah, I love that one. That's probably my favourite movie poster. Who was the hottest girlfriend that Bruce or Batman had in any of the films? Trying to think about that now. I guess I'll go with Vicky Vale in Batman. I thought Kim Basinger was really hot back then. Not so much now. What is your favourite Bat gadget or vehicles from any of the films or TV show? I really like the Bat Pod from the Nolan films. I think that's just fucking awesome. So weird and unique. You know, they built that, and the guys who were going to build the bike to be a real bike were like, you gotta be joking, that'll never work. And it did, you know. I think that's awesome. Would you want a Steven Spielberg produced and George Lucas directed Batman? Yeah, no. I wouldn't want to see that. You know, the last time they teamed up was what, Indiana Jones 4? No. And then he finally says, if I decided to become a real life Batman, would you be my Robin? No, I wouldn't, and that's not a slight on you, but I don't want to be a sidekick. I'd much prefer to be a villain myself. There you go, thanks for all the questions, guys. I'm sorry I didn't answer some of them in more depth, but yeah, 22 minutes, nearly 23 now. And I haven't even got to the main bulk of the video, which I'm going to just cut down now while I'm going. Top 5 villains, we'll go with that. 5, I'm going to go with Frank Gorshin as the Riddler in the 1966 Batman movie. I just think he was so cool. Such a manic energy to him. I almost feel like he could play a better Joker than the Riddler. That would have been interesting. Number 4, I'm going to go with Jack Nicholson from the Batman, 1989 Batman. Just a brilliant Joker, brilliant villain, absolutely loved him. Number 3, Aaron Eckhart as Harvey Dent and Two-Face in The Dark Knight. Just such a great character arc, really played well, and I love how he's only a villain in the 3rd act of the film, and he's just so good as well. Really loved Aaron Eckhart. Number 2, Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight. What? Yes, that's right, he's not number 1 for me. He's not the best Batman villain for me. He's amazing, and you know, again, he's been over-explained, but he's number 2 for me. Number 1, this guy right here, Tom Hardy as Bane. I'm sorry, I think he's the best Batman villain so far. I just feel like he's more of a threat to Batman. He's just more badass, more of a physical presence. Such a weird, unique take on the character that came out of nowhere. He has posed the biggest threat for Batman ever in a film for me, and just the way he just beat the crap out of him. I just think he's a fantastic villain. And I think Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker was a better performance than Bane, but I feel like Bane is the best villain. Which brings me to the best Jokers. Number 5, I'm going to go with Cesar Romero, the 1966 Joker. I thought he was cool, but for me, he didn't do too much for me. I like him, but he's not fantastic. Number 4, John Dimaggio, who he portrays the Joker in the animated film Batman Under the Red Hood. I thought he was really good. Number 3, Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Well, of course, as the Joker, but you know, in the 1989 Tim Burton Batman, Jack Nicholson. He's fantastic. I love him, but he's not the best Joker. Number 2, Heath Ledger. And number 1, no, I'm kidding. Number 2 is Mark Hamill, who is just such a good Joker and such a true to the source material Joker. I feel he's just brilliant in all the animated series, or the ones I've seen anyway, but mainly the animated movies, the games. You know, he's just fantastic. Number 1, Heath Ledger, without a doubt. You know, you can't really take that away from Heath Ledger. He just put so much into an amazing performance as the Joker. And now the top 5 actors who have portrayed Batman. And now, the top 5 actors who have portrayed Batman. Number 5 is Val Kilmer. Oh yeah. I don't really like him as Batman, but I was running out of people to put in that position. He was alright, you know, I think he was a good Bruce Wayne, but a crap Batman, especially when he's like wearing the bat mask. Oh, just awful seeing a smiling Batman. No, no. Number 4, Lewis Wilson from the 1940, the first ever actor to portray Batman in the 1943 series. I really like him. Number 3, Kevin Conroy, who portrays Batman in most of the animated stuff. I love him. I think he's a great Batman, and if he had the look of Batman, he would definitely be the best Batman, because his voice is Batman to me. Number 2, Christian Bale. I don't like Christian Bale that much as a Batman, but in Dark Knight Rises he was fantastic, and it's because he had more of a struggle, and just, yeah, I really dug Christian Bale in the Dark Knight Rises. Batman Begins and the Dark Knight, not so much. Like, I don't like the growling voice he does and whatever, but I can see why they did it, and I've talked about that before. But number 1 for me, without a doubt, is Michael Keaton. He is Batman to me. It was such a out of the blue choice for Batman. You know, he was a mainly comedic actor. People were up in arms about it, and he turned out to be what I consider to be the best Batman. He's just absolutely fantastic. Just his eyes sell it, you know, and his intensity, and just his all-round performance. I'm not even going to go into it. I just think Michael Keaton is Batman to me. And I think one thing that's really telling as far as Michael Keaton and Christian Bale goes, and I think most people will agree that those are the two best Batmen. I can't believe I actually just said that. They'll agree that those are the two best Batman actors. When you think about Michael Keaton, you know, just like if you talk about it, bring it up in conversation, oh, Michael Keaton is Batman, people will quote, I'm Batman, you know. Christian Bale, you bring that up in conversation, people will quote, where are they? Why do you want to kill me? Where are the other Dark Knight? It's kind of a joke for Christian Bale, you know. I think he's great and everything, but you know, I think Michael Keaton is slightly more badass. Not even in bulk. I think Christian Bale is probably the best kind of in shape guy to play Batman, but Michael Keaton for me, he's the one. And now finally the top 5 Batman films. Number 5, we're going to go with Batman Returns. I love this film. It's so dark, and yeah, again, I've talked about it before. I mean, I've done a whole 20-minute episode on it, but number 5 is Batman Returns. Number 4 is Batman Under the Red Hood. It's an animated movie, and it's my favourite Batman animated movie. Fantastic. Check out my Animated Movies Volume 2 video for in-depth thoughts on that one. Number 3 is The Dark Knight. Oh yeah, The Dark Knight. I think it's an amazing movie, but for me it's number 3. Number 2 is Batman, the 1989 Batman. And it was the number 1, it always has been, but this one's taking the top spot for me. I have to say The Dark Knight Rises is my favourite Batman film. And I should have mentioned at the beginning, all these lists I'm doing, they're just my favourite. You know, I wouldn't say that, you know, Bane is the best Batman villain, and if you don't agree, then you're wrong. No, I'm just saying that I think he's the best. You know, that's my opinion, and they're my favourites. So there you go. Michael Keaton, Dark Knight Rises, Heath Ledger as the Joker, Tom Hardy as Bane. The best film, the best Batman, the best villain, and the best Joker. There you go. I'm done. I'm out. This is over. The series is in the can. I'm really happy with it. Just putting effort into like the opening sequence and the title cards has just been really fun for me, and giving it a sense of occasion. You know, and yeah, yeah, I've really enjoyed doing this series. Thank you everyone who supported this and commented and stuff, and viewed it and watched me talking crap about Batman for nearly 5 hours. Well done for you for that. And yeah, all good things must come to an end, from the 60s all the way up to the 2000s, to the video games and beyond. You've been watching the RazorwireReviews Bat-a-thon. Thank you. Then again, I've come this far. I could continue this, couldn't I? If you think about it. But what else could you talk about? I hear you say. Well, there's a few things. I don't know, maybe just, you know, some of the more classic graphic novels like Year One, Batman the Killing Joke, or maybe just some of the collected comic book series like Batman Nightfall. How about the TV shows? I haven't even talked about the TV shows. How about Batman the Animated Series, which I recently just picked up on DVD? How about Birds of Prey, the TV series about Batman's daughter? Could talk about that. How about the 1966 Batman series, which is rumoured to now finally be maybe, possibly, maybe not coming to DVD next year? Could talk about that. What about other games? Batman Arkham City? There's a lot to talk about. And I'm gonna in the RazorwireReviews Bat-a-thon 2, which will probably not be for a very long time, but yeah, just let you know, guys, I'll be doing another series of this in the distant future. Maybe when Dark Knight Rises comes out on Blu-ray, maybe I'll do it then in December, or maybe even next year sometime. It'll be a long time, but I'm going to talk about all the random stuff. I've come this far. I'm going to talk about more, like more games, more comic books, the Batman animated series. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that one. I'm sure it won't be as interesting because it won't be building up to the Dark Knight Rises or anything like that, but who knows, if I do it next year, maybe we'll have news of the next Batman film, which I'm not that psyched about, but this video's gone on far too long anyway, so I'll see you in the RazorwireReviews Bat-a-thon 2. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you for watching. I've been Luke. You've been an audience watching me talk about Batman for a very long time. And for that you should be commended. Thanks for watching.